Kings and Queens, and welcome to Believe in Yourself Tuesday. Our guest today is none other than Quiana Johnson. She is an award-winning entrepreneur and woman on a mission. She has always had the heart of entrepreneurship, but after the death of her mother of cancer, she was inspired to make a difference for her family and those connected to her. Quiana founded a global technology company called All Things Business, which provides project gig work opportunities to creative entrepreneurs. She is known for her business savvy and has the nickname All Things Business, hence the name of her business. So let's find out why she has earned that nickname. Welcome Mrs. Quiana Johnson to the show. So welcome Quiana Johnson to Believe in Yourself Tuesday. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. I'm so glad that you decided to join me on today.
Thanks for having me. I totally appreciate it.
Yes.
I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much. So tell us a little bit about Quiana Johnson and who she is and what drives her.
Oh, yeah. Well, a little bit about myself is that, one, I am married and I have five amazing children that ranges from 17 all the way down to 3.
Oh, wow.
And being able to run my household and then also run a full-time business is a story all in itself, okay?
Yes.
And so I am, a wife and a mother first, but I also am a full-time entrepreneurship who loves all things about business. And I love helping people when it comes to helping them start their business, grow their business, providing opportunities for them, in the business realm. Because I think it's just really important to have multiple streams of income and have things like that. And so that's just really something that is just a part of me. So when people say, well, who are you? And I'm like, well, outside of a mom and a wife and a child of God, like, I am business. I don't know, like, that's really like the best way for me to explain it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you've been in business from what age? What age did you start and decided, I love business?
Yeah, so give a little bit of a backstory about it. I actually wrote about this in a book that I was a part of with some other women that was in business. And it talked about how I really gained my passion for my mom and my dad, because I saw them as I was growing up always hustling. Like, my parents sold clothes and Coach purses and fireworks, for the 4th of July. Like, I've always seen that. And so I always knew that I wanted to own my own. They always just strive for that and really put that into me. My dad was a inventor. He came up with all different types of stuff, and even though I never actually seen them get it to a certain point, I just love the drive. I love the energy. I love the hustle, the sales that they were doing. And so I actually started my first business officially when I was 18, as soon as I graduated high school.
Okay.
And I was in college. And I really, really loved fashion. Like, that was my thing. And I used to design clothes. I had a seamstress that made them. People would purchase my clothes, and on campus, people would come to me to like do the ripped jeans. So during that time, we were putting safety pins and ripping the jeans.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
So I started doing that for people, as well as their jackets and customizing shirts and stuff like that. And then it just grew from there. So I actually owned a fashion company that I called Leisure for about 10 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
We did fashion shows all over. I did Detroit Fashion Week when it was here. I've done Miami, Canada, LA, just a lot of different fashion shows. And I worked with a lot of designers because we switched from clothes to jewelry.
Okay.
And so a lot of our stuff was featured in their photo shoots and on the runway and things like that. So that really is kind of where it started for me. And then eventually I was like, yeah, I don't like this anymore. Like, this is not really what I want and what I wanted to do. And so I went on a path to seek out really what I was truly called and passionate about. And I just realized over the years that it really wasn't fashion. And it was really more so because the fashion world was just not my scene. It was just not my scene. And I didn't want to have to lie and cheat and claw my way to the top.
Yeah.
And at that time, being so young, I didn't really see another way. And everyone who was willing to mentor me, which wasn't a lot, because they were like, you're not about to be my competition.
Right.
They were not really interested. I literally had a lady, I had a fashion show to do with BET, and they had an amateur fashion show. And so we got all the designs, was getting them done, and a few days before the show, she just disappeared with all of my stuff. And so I had to back out of the fashion show because I had no product, and that's really one of the times that I realized, I said, I don't want to learn how to sew. I don't. And so I don't want to have somebody to have that much control over my business. And because I'm not willing to learn every aspect of that business, then this is clearly not the business for me. And so I switched it up.
Okay. So you kind of told us a little bit about your inspiration and how the business got started, but tell us about the nickname. How did it become All Things Business?
Yes. So very weird story, kind of, in a way. After I left the fashion industry, one of the things that drove me to get in the field that I'm in now, which I'll explain a little bit more about, but no one was willing to help me start my business or take it to the next level. And I talked to a ton of designers and clothing store owners, and they were just not willing. And that I went and I just really prayed about it and was like, okay, what is this? And I got the name while I was in prayer, called Wealthy Beginnings. And it was me helping people as the beginning part of their wealth to build their own business. I didn't really know what that meant or anything like that. But I said, hey, I got the name. This is what it's supposed to be about. And I'm going to help people start their business, whatever that means. And so I ended up developing a program, an 8-week course. And I would just get people, even to this day, they always come to me and say, I need my LLC done. I need my EIN. I need my DUNS number. I need this. I need a business plan. I need all of these things. And so my friends will say, everybody always coming to you. It's like you're all things business. Like, anybody want to know anything about business, you're the person that they should come to. So no matter where we were at, they would just refer people to me, like, hey, this is all things business. And I would be like, whatever. Like, I would just laugh it off, or like, don't believe the hype, like, it's not that serious. But then one day it clicked for me when I was on the phone and one of the friends said, hey, all things business. And I said,
All Things Business.
Yeah, it was in the right time and the right season.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. They just start naming it, and you just said, you know what, All Things Business. That's going to be the name of the business.
Yeah, like years later. It wasn't even like at least 2 to 3 years, maybe even longer than that, had passed. And I just was like, oh, don't say that, or, I just really was not receiving it in the way that they were putting it out there, and how they were telling everybody. And everyone said, you don't understand all the greatness in you and all the things that you know about business, and, the added value that you have. And, look at where I'm at in my business because of you. And look what you've done for me, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Still just very like, it was just a little hard to kind of hear that for whatever reason. But when I was in the right place, in the right mindset to be able to receive it, when it was said to me, it clicked. And I said, do you mind if I take this and actually name it my business? So yeah, that's how we ended up with it.
That's so amazing. And just really different and unique. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you're truly all things business. People come to you for that one-stop shop in business.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about business coaching? Because that's surely where you're headed, because that's part of business.
Yeah. I yes and no. I love to only coach and teach those who really want it.
Okay.
One thing I learned is that I thought that I just loved to teach business, right? I thought that that was it until I became an adjunct professor at a college, and I taught business leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And those kids, well, they were, some of them were older than me, and some of them were younger than me, or the same age, but they're kids to me, you know. I'm like, those kids were just not interested. It was just another college credit, and they just wanted to get through. And I realized that I actually have an ideal of type of person that I want. And then I also realized I do not like working with people who are not go-getters, who want their hand held and want you to do all of the work.
Yeah.
I can't, and I won't do all of the work for you. I can coach you to do it. And that was part of the reason why both the beginnings ended up being like a no more. In a way, it's just being revamped to all things business. But it was because I realized I didn't like doing the work. One of the main things about me when it comes to business is creating freedom for myself. Like I said, I have a whole family, that I have to take care of, and we can glamorize and say, oh, as an entrepreneur, we have all the time to do whatever it is that we want, and that is not the case whatsoever. Your customers are now really your boss, and you have to show up, and you show up in excellence for your customers and or your clients. And so you can set rules to a certain extent, but you still got to be there. And me doing the business coaching, I felt like it would take up too much of my time, but that was how limited my mindset was during that time. Now I understand of how I could do it on a broader band. Now I understand systems. Now I understand larger platforms. It doesn't have to be a one-on-one thing unless you're paying the big bucks. Now we can talk for the one-on-one. But, I realized that it's really about how you structure your business. You can have the same vision of what you really wanted to do, but maybe you're not doing it in the right path. And so now I realize with the revamp and now calling it, all things business, I created a system that allowed me to help potentially millions of people start and grow their business and still provide that same information, that's needed, those same services that's needed, but not me being the only one providing those services, but allowing people from all over the world to help other businesses succeed. So it becomes a bigger mission than just myself.
That's amazing. So tell us a little bit of how you transitioned into full-time entrepreneurship, because you did have a 9-to-5, and as you were going through this journey and you decided to do the all things business, how did you decide to say, hey, I'm going to be full-time in my business?
So that's an even funnier story. So I actually owned a company called ChargeBot with my husband. And so this was a technology company where we charged cell phones on the go.
I got some for my business. And absolutely loved it.
Absolutely. And so I went extremely hard for, about 3 years. It's a 3-year-old business with it. And I was working full-time as an administrative assistant to a law firm in the city of Detroit. And I would just always complain and talk about, oh, I can't wait to leave this job so I could do business full time, but to be honest, I really didn't necessarily believe in myself during that time and what I was really capable of doing, no matter of what other people saw and what other people believed. I didn't really have the confidence to really just step out there. And so I would just always make a joke, even to my bosses that was there, and was like, oh, why don't y'all just fire me so I can collect unemployment and do my business full time? I would just always joke about it and just be like, I can't wait, or, well, that joke eventually became a reality.
Power in our words.
Yes, very much so. And it's funny because I got to the point where I stopped praying and asking to leave the job. I just said, you know what, clearly it's not my time. I am just going to, because the business wasn't going as best as I would like it, you know, to go where it can support our household. And again, because again, we have 5 children, so we have to be able to support those children, and we are a 2-income household, and so I couldn't just leave. And so I was just like, you know what, it's clearly not my time. I'm just going to stay here until it just is what it is. Whenever he decides to release me, I'm just going to stay here. I'm not going to say anything else about it. And so I was quiet for quite some time in regards to it. And then one day, my boss at the time got angry about a client that was the weirdest thing, because he does not prepare for meetings until about 2 days before the meeting actually exists. This meeting was on his calendar for at least a month. I notified him. The other attorney knew about it. And he called one day and said, hey, did you set up the meeting with the client? And I said, yeah, it's on your calendar. And he completely lost it. Like, he literally went off, and he threatened me, and he called me all out of my name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, just went crazy. And so I was like, I was about to quit, you know, just off. I'm like, you're not going to disrespect me, you know, like that. And he was like, you know what, get your beep and get the beep out. And I said, no problem. I shut down my computer. I had already had all of my stuff in the bag, and I walked right out of the door. Wow. And so, and as I was walking out of the door, I already kind of started the business a little bit, because like I said, I wanted to do the other business full time. So I figured I could do virtual assistant services, I was already an administrative assistant, so I figured I could just do it on my own for other clients. And so I had already kind of just been putting it out there a little bit, but it had no name. It was just under Quiana Johnson. Okay. And as I literally was walking out the door, my first client texted me and said, I'm ready to get started. Wow. And just that one client, what she was paying was at least 2 weeks worth of pay that I was getting there, and I was only doing about 10 hours worth of work for her versus 80 hours of work that I would have had to put in on there. And then I just knew that was a sign that it was going to be okay. Wow. And then maybe like within that first month, I was up to maybe about 3 or 4 clients, which then put me at a little over what I was making at the law firm, and it's just been growing since then. And then, so it was like you said, it was the power in the words of saying it. But when I finally got complacent and I did hear, it's time for you to go, and I said, no, I'm not leaving. Like, I don't know, is this you talking to me? I'm not leaving. And it's like, okay, you don't want to leave, I'm going to force you to leave. Wow. Yeah. And all of the other owners called back and was like, can you come back? I said, absolutely not. I would never work another job a day in my life. Wow. It would never happen again.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's an amazing story. And when you just knew it, and then it just happened divinely. The first client texts you as you're walking out the door.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's
didn't even
amazing.
make it to the car. And I was like, wow, like, okay, like, wow. I hear you. And I said, but I called my husband. I said, I don't care what happens. I'm not going back to a job. I said, I will do every hustle that is needed until my business take off. But I refuse. I have to bet on myself. Yes. I have to believe in myself. Regardless of no one else believes in me, I have to believe in me. I have to remember of why I was created and who created me. And I know I'm created for greatness. Why would I live for anything less than that?
Wow. That right there. That right there. The power of believing in yourself. A woman here working a 9-to-5. Boss went off on her. But she didn't believe in herself at first in her business. And this horrible circumstance happened to cause you to believe in you and just take a chance on you and bet on you. And you having great success. You making more now than you were at 9-to-5 from believing in yourself and betting on you. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. What does...
Now they're my clients. My old job now is a client of mine. I just put that out there. And then the company that he was upset about and fired me over is also a client of mine.
You know what?
So
I want to get up out this chair.
Yes.
Now that is amazing that the person that was saying all these awful things, now he's a client and the other person is a client.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. And so you know that this is designed for you.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow. Awesome. What does All Things Business Center do?
Okay. So now, because we were a virtual assistant agency, we actually revamped and we are now a micro jobs software company. And so what that means is that we connect business owners to vetted freelancers. So any type of services that you would need, whether it's logo design, website, voiceover, SEO, anything that you could think of that a freelancer can do for you, social media management, that is now what our company does.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. So a freelancer can also have your services, so they'll register with you and then you can connect them to the person that needs them and vice versa?
So they go on to the site and they create an account and they list all of the services that they offer. And they list their packages, like so what it will cost, what you would get, examples of the work. And so you as a business owner, when you register, you can view a host of freelancers that fall into that category. And then you're able to look at their reviews or their ratings or just their work in general, and then see if that is the one that you want to work with. They're able to chat with them, ask them some questions before you actually start the job. And so there are other companies out here that exist like that. The biggest thing with us that makes us different from them is that we do a very extensive vetting of our freelancers. Because a lot of times they may use other sites and you get someone and they do not know what they're doing, or you can't communicate with them well because there's a language barrier or just different things like that. We really vet our freelancers, so they're not even allowed to complete their profile or register until we went through the entire thing to make sure they have everything that they need, their resumes, their portfolio, previous testimonials, their packages is completely filled out and not just very bland, on there. And then we also have to approve the business owners as well, because a lot of those other sites get scammed. People that come on there because they try to scam the freelancers out of money. And so that was another thing that we make sure that you are a legitimate company, that you do have to go through a couple more steps to be able to do. And then at that point, you already know that you're going to get someone that's going to be a great fit for you on either side. And then we also offer an educational aspect of it where we help people to enhance their skill set as well as just their knowledge base on marketing or social media, anything that you would want through webinars and events like that as well. So, and it works for the business owner and the freelancer.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Now, is it hard running a tech company as a woman?
It can be. It really can be, because the tech industry is very male dominant. And when I come and try to have a conversation or, let them know, like a lot of times people talk to me like, I don't know what I'm talking about. And they talk to me like on the very elementary level. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that. And they're looking like, really? Like, you do? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Like, yeah, absolutely. Because I'm like, I even went to college and got a degree in information systems. Like, so this isn't anything new to me. But as a woman, you do tend to find men that believe you don't know or you don't know as much. And that's why I just joined a few organizations that are for women in tech and joined that community, as well.
Awesome. So where would you like to see your company in the next 5 years?
Ooh, I would love to see us really expand in the global market, and really actually bring more awareness to the United States market. It is a very big industry. It is $1 billion industry.
Yes.
However, a lot of the talent comes from overseas, and we have a lot of talent that's here in America as well. A lot of the groups that I'm in, a lot of people are here, in America, but they have reservations about being on these types of sites. And so if I can just kind of bring more awareness to all parties here in the United States as well as overseas, that this is a great opportunity for all, and really get that global recognition so people can come in, because I know that the more people that we get on, the more families that we're able to help. So on either side, if you're a freelancer, we're helping put in money in your pocket, and as a business owner, we're helping you grow your business. And so that's really where I want to see myself in 5 years, is that we are filled with millions of people on the site, and people getting exactly what it is that they need in order to grow.
Wow. Well, it's absolutely been a pleasure talking with you on today on the show. And I hope to see you again and do some business with you as well.
Absolutely. I would love it. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, you're most welcome. Okay, well, thank you, Kings and Queens, for joining us today on Believe in Yourself. And just know, like our guest Quiana Johnson said, you got to believe in you. You got to bet on you. No one's going to believe in you other than you. And it's up to you to make that decision to move forward in your life. If it's a business, if it's a book, whatever that thing may be, believe in you. And remember, everything you need is right there inside of you. All you have to do is believe in yourself.